Hi there and welcome back to a new video. It's such a nice winter day. Last night it snowed and the snow outside looks so beautiful. I think it's so magical to just wake up and to see that everything is white. This video is going to be about my 2026 ins and out. I did a video like this last year and I really like the concept of just writing down what you want to invite more of into your life and what you want to let go of a little bit more. I made a list. I have my journal here and I wrote everything down. So make yourself comfy, grab a coffee or tea, and let's get straight into it. So starting with my 2026 ins, one of my ins is to post on YouTube. And I've been quite good at this in the last year. One of my main goals was to post on average one video per week. And I hit that goal and I'm so proud of myself because I always struggled with consistency and I just love long format videos and I really love YouTube and this is what I truly want to do. So one of my main ins for the next year is to post on YouTube. And the second one is consistency because how I just said, sometimes I struggle with consistency, but I think really consistency is such a key to so many goals and to have success in life. It's just to continuously do something. And the next in is being seen in the process. And this also relates to YouTube, but you can actually apply this to anything in your life to allow yourself to be seen while still trying. I don't want to try to make myself perfect in private until I let other people see me and until I allow myself to be seen. So I think it's such a good mindset to say, hey, I can be seen while I'm trying. I can be seen while I'm still learning. The next one is affirmations. I love affirmations so much and they helped me a lot. And I just recently wrote down my affirmations for 2026 and I will definitely try to read them as often as possible, especially in the mornings. I just think it's such a good kickstart to your day and it gives you such a positive energy. So my next in is solo traveling. Last year, one of my ins was solo dates, and this is still very in for me in 2026, but I want to take it a step further and I wrote down solo traveling because I feel like when you're traveling and when you're 24 hours with yourself for like several days in a row, you get to know yourself on a different level. You're in a foreign country and you have to come up with activities to fill your day and you also meet new people. And it's also so nice to use solo traveling to reflect on your life and to take your journal with you and to really just allow yourself to be. Another in for me is to embrace creative hobbies offline because I feel like I get a lot of creativity from content or from things that I see online or on screens, but I really want to embrace my creativity in offline hobbies. I really love to draw and I used to draw so much more, but I also really like scrapbooking or journaling, or another hobby of mine was improv theater. And those are all creative hobbies that you can do offline and that spark creativity in you and that also inspire you on a new level and you don't just get your inspiration from other content. My next in is to go on more trips with friends in nature and I did this like 2 weeks ago with a group of friends and it was just so nice to be together outside and we went hiking and it really filled my cup and I think my friend group isn't the best in organizing, but I really want to do more trips like this with friends because I think community is so important and to connect with the people in your life and being together for like a little weekend getaway can bring you so much closer and you also get to know your friends a little bit better. Yeah, I just want to be very intentional with those relationships. And my next in for 2026 is playfulness and flirting. So what I mean by that is I just love this feeling of excitement and I feel like the older we get, the less we have it in like a natural way, I would say, because we are used to do things, we are used to talk to people. But I really want to invite playfulness and excitement. And I think if you're being present in conversations with people, or if you're really being engaged with other people, you can bring back this little bit of flirtiness or playfulness. And this excitement also makes you feel more alive in a way. So another in for me is to have a style rather than following trends. And what I mean by that is we live in this digital age where we all get inspired from other people online and there are so many trends that we can follow, but I think it's kind of an art if you still have like your own style and you're not too influenced by current trends because trends come and go, but to develop an own taste and an own kind of style, I think nowadays that is quite special. Fashion for me is supposed to be fun. You should play around with different clothes and pattern and materials and I just love to combine things that you wouldn't combine on the first sight. And I really want to continue doing this in 2026. Another in for me is to cook more and to cook more homemade dishes because it's so so special if you just take your time to nourish yourself and if you don't just order takeaway or like go out. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, to go to a restaurant every now and then, but I think like being able to make yourself a meal that you really enjoy, that's such a skill. And I really want to fuel myself with the dishes I really like and put in that time and effort to make myself a really good meal. And my last in is to have music playing in the background. I really like to put on some music while I'm working. If it's like some easy task that I have to do on my computer, I think it brings in so much atmosphere and it also calms me down quite often. I especially like jazz playlists or like house jazz. I think it's really nice to have it on as like a background music when you're working. Yeah, I definitely want to do this more often. And my very last in of 2026, and one of my favorites, is to already feel the happiness. What I mean by this is there are so many tools to make yourself feel better, and one of my favorite tools is gratitude. And we always wait for this moment in our lives when we have it all to be happy, but you can actually spark that feeling within you if you have the right methods and the right tools. You can let yourself feel the happiness because in the end, it's just a feeling that you have to access within yourself. And now moving on to my 2026 outs. So the first one that I wrote down is double buying. And what I mean by that is you don't have to buy things that you already own. Why do you need 5 different journals that you don't write in if you already have a journal at home that you could fill? I think it's so easy to buy a lot of things, also sometimes to regulate our emotions. But we should check in with ourselves first and be honest if we already own something like that and if we really need it, because overconsumption is an out for me. The next one I wrote down is consuming more than I create. And I think this is especially easy if you make content. For example, me, I'm trying also to post more on TikTok lately, but if you post like 2 to 3 times a day, you're always on this app. And it's so easy to fall into like doom scrolling and to unconsciously spend 1 or 2 hours on your phone, even though you just wanted to post your own content. So I think if I create, I want at least create as many hours as I consume, which isn't easy. Yeah, ideally I would actually create more than I consume, but I think in general it's just like less social media consumption. And I know that this can sound paradox because I'm also adding up with my own content, right, into like this loop, but I'm always trying to bring some kind of value into my videos. And I also want to advertise slow living and intentional living as well with my content. So my next out is over identifying with potential. And what I mean by that is often we fall into the trap that we think that we could do something and we are like, okay, yeah, the version of me in my head could do this and that. And you see like your own potential and you're trying to reach that potential. And if you don't reach that and if there is this gap, you can fall into self-pity and you really question yourself. And I just want to stop over identify with potential. And I really want to understand that action matters more than my imagined version of myself. And I also want to put all my focus into action, one step at a time, but doing rather than thinking about a version that I could be. So the next out for me is to have my phone on my bedside table. It's so easy to reach for your phone before going to sleep or the first thing in the morning. And unfortunately, I'm someone who does this quite often. So in the mornings, I first check my phones and I don't want to do this anymore. So I want to go back to a state where I don't have my phone in my bedroom even. Right now, it's also my alarm. But I know that we also have like a radio alarm, and I just want to stop using this excuse that my phone is my alarm to have it next to my bed every night. So my next out is romanticizing chaos. I'm someone who still sometimes romanticizes chaos because I think I can associate chaos with freedom, but I know that this isn't true, and I don't want to romanticize chaos anymore because I want to be organized and I also want to be structured so I can actually follow my goals and get somewhere. So yeah, stop romanticizing chaos is one of the things that I have to do. And then another out for me that I wrote down is to forget to take pauses, because I found myself forgetting to pause quite often in the last couple of months. and I felt stressed the whole day because I was like, I want to do this, I need to work, I want to do my content, and I just didn't take intentional pauses, and this wasn't good for me. And the next thing is to stress over work or to stress over small things, because I can get caught up in like small problems so heavily that I think that they are so important and that they just consume me. And sometimes I just overthink small problems that don't even matter. For example, a work email, it's not important. It's literally just an email. And I think I sometimes just really have to calm down and remember that in the whole scheme of things, this little thing doesn't matter at all. And it's also so freeing that we are literally so unimportant. I have to sometimes come back to the state and remember for myself that I don't have to stress over things that won't matter in like 5 months or even like 5 days. So my next out is thinking about the outcome more than enjoying the journey. And what I mean here is that we have to really fall in love with the journey. And I'm someone who preaches this quite often, but if we like what we do and if we are excited about what we are doing, I think that success will eventually follow. And even if not, that's also fine. It doesn't have to follow. But what I'm sure of is that it's such a waste of time to over focus on the outcome, because you could use all this energy to actually focus on the action and on doing the thing that you want to do and on embracing the journey. And also, it's the goal to just be happy. So you can actually be happy while trying to achieve something. And my last out is feeling bad when not finishing a book. I'm not sure if I already had this on my last in and outs of the last year, but I think what many people have, myself included, is that we feel guilty if we don't finish a book that we started. But I think that doesn't make sense, because with movies, for example, I don't have it at all. And it's kind of similar, right? It's both a medium that we are consuming. So I think we shouldn't feel bad if we realize after 20 pages that a book is not for us. It's even better that we realize, so we can spend this time on a different book that we would enjoy more. Okay, so these were my 2026 ins and outs, and there are still so many ins and outs of my video from last year that I still feel so deeply and that I agree with. So if you want to get a little bit more inspired, definitely also check out my video from last year, because I didn't put all the points down on paper this year, but I definitely could have. Yeah, I wish you all the best, and I hope that you have a fabulous year ahead. See you in my next one. Bye!